Could you tell me a little bit about about your area of responsibility in your geographic region as well?
Yes, as you mentioned, I'm based out of Bogota. We look after the 6 operations that we have in Latin America, which are currently the Andean region, where we have Colombia, which is our largest operation, followed by Peru and Ecuador. And then in Central America, we have Panama, and then El Salvador and Honduras. My responsibilities obviously form part of the regional hub, where we're actually looking, which is essentially a centre of expertise, where we provide support and coordination between the 6 countries. My specific focus obviously is in the finance transformation area. That's built originally out of a finance development role. What we've done is over a period of time started to build our capabilities amongst our finance teams, and now we're actually moving into a transformation phase, which includes the creation of shared service centres, standardised processes, and really leveraging some of the technology investments that perhaps the larger operations could put into place. We're actually trying to leverage those into the smaller operations.
Let's talk in more general terms. Tell me a little bit about the potential that SABMiller sees in the Andean region. We had talked earlier about the levels of consumption in Colombia being very, very high, and the potential being quite large in the region. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I mean, oftentimes shared service centres are seen as sort of an initiative to drive out a cost in the operation. That is certainly something we're looking for. We have 6 fairly large organisations, fairly common businesses. But really what we're looking for is much more to facilitate our strategic intent across the region. And the cost piece is important. We're actually really seeing how we can uplift our technology capabilities, and more importantly our human capital, so that they can actually drive value and support, provide much more of the business decision support across the regions, into the commercial area, into the distribution area.
Are you looking at expanding in the region?
You'll have to speak with our merger and acquisition guys. We have obviously come from a local South African brewery under 20 years ago to now being number 2 in the world. You don't do that without expanding. I'm sure over the next few years we'll expand quite significantly in both Latin America and other parts of the world as it makes sense.
Why did you make the decision to go from consulting and into operations?
Yeah, I think when you're in the firms, you come to a decision point when you can perhaps stay in the firm, continue with the consulting background, or actually jump in and see whether everything you've been talking about actually works. Certainly in an environment such as Latin America, I worked 5 or 6 years here with Ernst & Young across the whole region. A lot of learnings we had from many of our customers and clients that I thought, well, let's see if we can have a chance of actually driving this into an operation. So when the opportunity came up with McGraw-Hill, very traditional company, many years in the region, one of the oldest booksellers in the region, one of the international booksellers, the opportunity was really very interesting. And it was an opportunity to take learnings from the consulting and actually put them into reality. And we had a very enjoyable 5 years building a very strong team and actually making some of these things real.
How did you end up at SABMiller?
Joined SABMiller just over 2.5 years ago, mainly for personal reasons. My wife is Colombian, so her working with Telmex there in Colombia, myself up with McGraw-Hill, travelling down, almost commuting weekly down to Bogota. We came to a position where it was Bogota or Mexico, and the opportunity at SAB really did seem very timely and an excellent opportunity. The operations of McGraw-Hill in Latin America are across most of the countries. There's a lot of geographical spread, but quite small. The operations of SABMiller are obviously 10-15 times larger just in the Latin American environment. So it was really an opportunity there to now start putting things to scale, as averse to a numerous number of countries as I was looking after with McGraw-Hill.
Are you seeing that there are processes or best practices that you've either been a part of or you've observed in Latin America that you think are transferable outside of the region? I'm wondering if there's expertise that perhaps others haven't noticed or wouldn't have been aware of in Latin America that are being exported into North America, into Europe, into Asia, and other areas.
No, I certainly think there is. I think that's the art of globalization nowadays. I think there's things to be learnt from each country, each region. I think there's I think if you look at the history of SABMiller, I think that's part of its success. They came from essentially an emerging market, South Africa, and have then expanded into Africa, Eastern Europe, and then into Latin America. And they've actually there found a lot of the practices, best practices, processes, techniques that were useful in South Africa are very applicable here in Latin America, for example. Now we've been here 3 or 4 years in the region, we're now starting to export talent. So those people have obviously learned the techniques both in country and then merged those with what SABMiller have brought to the table. And now we're building people that we can actually send across to other countries, other regions to share those best practices. Specifically around processes, I think there's a lot around the credit area, where there's a lot of, obviously it's a difficult area to collect money in the region, so there's a lot of learnings and best practices that one can actually, because of the focus here and the need to focus on it from working capital perspectives, one can pick up a lot of those items and then take those into perhaps more developed markets and apply them and uplift them there.